Welcome everybody to Backlash Podcast, Episode 1, Season 2, Episode 28 if you're going for continuity here.
Should I, because in the audio hosting, it actually gives me the option to make a new season.
Yeah, just go with Episode 28.
Okay.
Especially since our topic today is kind of wrapping up getting into virtual. We thought we wrapped up, but we got called out and said we missed a few terms, so we'll go back and we'll go over these terms and get everyone fully caught up into virtual.
Yeah, thanks to Keith from Raw Deal SG for saying it's like, no, you guys aren't done. Well, first things first, you know what, Scott, what's made you happy? In the last 2 weeks, since we were last here, what has made you happy?
Put me on the spot.
That's right. We're changing things up here, and I need to delay.
Yeah. Well, my daughter went from sitting up to crawling in about 36 hours, 48 hours. So we had to fully baby-proof our house for our 6-month-old. That's pretty exciting. Won our soccer game last night. We play inside in Canada in the winter, so we have a big sports dome. So we can play year-round. We won. Toronto Raptors won their season opener. That made me happy. That's pretty well. What's made you happy in the last 2 weeks? I know work hasn't made you happy.
No. Sopranos has been really good. That makes me happy. Mm-hmm. We have these matching mugs to reflect our names. That makes me happy. That's about it.
Yeah.
My Undisputed Era fantasy cards.
Yeah.
Got a lot of conversation.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
That's made me happy. You want to know what else has made me happy, Scott? Is our contest is over.
Oh,
well, no, it being over doesn't make me happy. But the fact that I can reveal our winners. So I'm going to be shipping these guys some alternate art Backlash cards. Those whatever other goodies I have laying around. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to Keith Lee, Cameron Pratt, David Leong, and Vela cards, because they're the only 4 that posted photos, so I'm going to send you guys everything.
Yeah. I was surprised that not a lot of people had a lot of Backlash in their collection. I mean, it is a Backlash deck card, so typically you're not running 3 like you are an Arsenal card, but most people had 8 to 10 copies.
Like, I'm a hoarder of Raw Deal, and I only had, like, the 5 copies. Yeah. I was surprised. So these cards are being shipped to me currently, and then I'm going to be in touch with everyone shortly to get your addresses, and then I'll let you know when everything's mailing out. So thank you to those who were involved in that.
It was interesting that Cam mentioned he packs 2 in one of his decks. I think that's his Braun Strowman that runs Linden the board, where it's a red wall, and he has to reveal his Backlash deck. So it's a good strategy, you know. You're running 2. Multis are big in Backlash or virtual. So if someone plays Bash Punch 2 times in a row, you can say, hey, you're going to run into 6 Fortitude, or you're just not going to play 2 moves against me ever, right? Successfully. So interesting strategy.
Or even like you hit that early game Backlash, and if they're ahead later in the game, you can hit them with another.
Yeah. It's been a card that I haven't packed. I stopped packing when we got into virtual, but in the last year or so I started packing again, and it's actually pretty crazy how often people run into it. Mostly you. But I played it at FunCon, and yeah, I was like, huh. So it's one of those cards where people know it exists, and whether you pack it or not, it's right there with Road to Victory. Some decks pack it, some don't. It can be a game saver, game changer.
Fortitude Surge is another one that's very similar.
Fortitude Surge I just auto pack in every deck, because it can be the difference between a game win and a game loss, sometimes first turn. So I definitely pack it. Whereas with Backlash, if you're packing a cow or flipped upside down, you know they're not really getting that 3rd card. So if they do get 2 moves, they're not getting 3 against you. But Fortitude Surge, auto pack. Unless I'm packing the Heenan family, which gives your reversals can't be modified.
Your unique reversals.
Yeah.
Which is like better than RMS.
Yeah. It's kind of like Frankie, right? Like you can't.
Well, you can modify your own reversals with Heenan family. Your opponent can't. But I don't know what you could really do because you can't Vince interferes and do a unique reversal.
Yeah, which it's kind of the same restrictions as Frankie.
Yeah.
But I don't play Frankie because I don't play a lot of heals, so...
Yeah, I like those very sloppies on overturn.
Yeah. And you don't see them much in Frankie and face decks because then you don't get the reduction of sloppy and stuff like that. So.
Well, you do in SS3, isn't the wording on sloppy, very sloppy to reduce the fortitude?
Maybe. Yeah.
No, you're only reducing fortitude with Moolah. Oh, no, I was thinking of the pre-match card.
You were right, yeah. Moolah reduces it itself, but the pre-match reduces it by 5, and then Frankie stops.
I think it's like, no, there's text on there that reduces it. It's like, oh yeah, on these very, very playable superstars.
Yeah. So what's happening around the web?
Well, I mean, you wrote this here, so you go ahead with it.
Yeah, I did fill in that section. Tony announced that he's basically wrapping up SoCal Raw Deal, that Facebook page that a lot of us use as a database, which is kind of sad, but the good news is that he's bringing under his own brand of Vela cards and putting all the images, literally all the images of all the Superstar cards so far. He started that. It's going to be quite the process. He's putting up a few Superstars every day, so that's pretty cool to see. It's neat to see how many cards are actually in a complete Superstar set. Like Undertaker, I think, was close to triple digits.
I'm just checking it here now.
He's in the 80s, I think.
Well, where is he here? Oh, it's in alphabetical order.
Triple H has got to be up there too.
So Undertaker's 59 cards. Triple H is 87.
Yeah, Triple H was the one that I knew there was an 80, and I was like, holy gee.
The Rock is 73. Stone Cold is 75. Kurt Angle's 65. Kane is 86.
Yeah.
But these are like
all the versions. That's the Survivor Series, Survivor Series 2, Survivor Series 3. Basically, the longer the Superstar was around, the more copies they reprinted of all of their cards.
Oh, face card variants as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's loading slowly for me, but if they add like Big Freaking Machine to that card pool, I guess they'd have to do
the
separately.
face card. Really?
Well, no, because like
19.
the virtual cards, right?
Yeah.
So in the folders here, it does not include remakes, but it includes Revolution.
Okay.
If you would be interested in finding out what cards are there, which only adds like 6 cards, 8 cards, anyways. But yeah,
Did we talk about the survey that was on Team Canada about separating or supporting all access going forward? There was a poll about it.
When was this?
Like right after Gen Con.
Oh.
About whether people still play all access, and I think 2 people said that they do. So I think going forward, they're just going to kind of separate Revolution and Classic and just have them as 2 separate formats, support 2 formats, and go from there, which I am fully endorsing because all access is a bag of tricks and
I've played
very complicated to get into.
Last time I played all access was like the Canadian qualifier in 2006.
Yeah. 12 years ago.
Just not interested. And I'm like, who's really good in this format? So I picked Rey Mysterio because he searches for assaults.
Yeah.
And there wasn't many reversals to it at the time.
Yeah. Good old days.
Oh yeah, something like that.
And then the Virtual Revolution tournament on Lackey is almost done the first round. Just lots of people having issues connecting with their opponents and setting things up, so we're trying to figure out a way to get around that. Whether you just do round robin and like set the deadline for Christmas and whoever has the most wins, hardcore 24/7 type event, you could do that.
I predict Mitch will win.
I beat him in the first round.
But if it's getting in the most games.
Yeah, Mitch and I can pretty much be on any time, which is nice and convenient. Like, we played our game the very first day that the pairings are up, and that was like September 1st.
Holy
6 or 7 weeks ago. I don't even remember what deck I'm playing in that, but...
Now, why do you think that the games haven't been played? Because everyone was all excited, Revolutions, quicker games to play through. A lot of people signed up. Why do you think there was just kind of the brakes?
The trickiest part is that we're all over the globe. So it's 6 p.m. here, it's 6 a.m. in Singapore. So getting that lined up can be tricky. People having things pop up and not having time to sit 30 minutes in front of a screen. Okay, I guess that's an excuse, but you should be able to find 30 minutes, especially if you say, hey, I'm interested in playing this tournament, or say, no, I can't do it, I overcommitted, I'll catch the next one in a few months. But I think it's just the time zone differences is the trickiest part, because just because it's 9 p.m. here doesn't mean it's 9 p.m. in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even the West Coast, they're eating dinners while they're getting ready for bed in some cases.
Exactly. So, it is what it is.
Or in our case, I'm going to bed shortly before you're getting into the boarding.
Yeah.
There was something else too that came up, but I can't remember it now.
Are you talking about your Shock the System Superstar cards?
Oh, I mean, I it was just made me happy. Whereas just there's important stuff in life. I mean, you're married, so you get a list, a to-do list, and you're like, okay, these are the things I need to do at home. Okay, these are the things I need to do that are important to me. And then what I do is I have that list. And I'm like, no, I'm going to open Photoshop. So that kind of that sums up that experience there.
Yeah. We can talk about our Halloween event, that raw deal. Superstars that have worn a mask.
Oh yeah, the theme behind that is like Halloween-y, where like face paint or masks, something along those lines. And if someone comes dressed up like a wrestler, they'll get candy. Which, I mean, by the time this releases, that event will have happened. You're not going to have too much time to play in there today.
I'll only be there for 2 hours. So.
Who are you playing? Or who would you play?
Luke Harper. Yes, Luke Harper. He wore a mask at some point. He's probably why it's so spooky.
Oh, the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
You're going to bring a hammer?
Maybe.
Just a big inflatable hammer.
Down. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? They should throw that back with a similar theme for the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah, except they don't. I don't think he has that many specifics. But
it's still funny. Make it like a 5
minus,
for 5.
or -2 for each specific instead of -1.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the card's not as good as it used to be now with how Virtual's so multi-focused.
Yeah. Who are you playing? You don't know.
I'm working on Umaga, but it's just with the work crunch and everything, it's just hard to get that time in there, because clearly I'd rather be photoshopping fantasy cards than building a deck that I need for, I guess, like this time tomorrow almost. Yeah. We're recording on a Friday. So, I mean, I'm trying to think if I have anyone built that I could just get away with. I mean, if I dress like AJ Styles and play AJ Styles, can I get away with it?
I'm sure you could.
I mean, worst case, they say it's like, boo, you can't play.
Or you can borrow a deck. I'm sure someone has 2 decks.
You know what? That's a really neat idea.
Do the old school masquerade. Everyone brings a deck, and then you trade decks before the event. Mm-hmm. And the prizes go to the winner and the deck builder.
Because with borrowing decks, I mean, that's not something I've done a lot in this game, but you get a different feel, a different vibe for how people construct their decks. Yeah. And it gives you a fresh take kind of on the game. Do you have a memory of borrowing someone's deck?
Not a specific one, but I do remember, like, you borrow a deck and they'll play something like, little Ace fans love an underdog, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I got 4-2 Surge, because I always pack, this is not my deck, and there's no 4-2 Surge, guess I'm eating that. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience to see what other cards people pack, and, like, I know you're a big fan of Nerve Hold, and I rarely run that card ever, right? So if I'm boarding your deck, I'm like, oh, I got Nerve Hold. That's interesting.
It's like, oh, I can reverse like 2 of the 5 maneuver types now.
But yeah, just seeing other people's strategies and play styles, that's interesting.
That's what we should do.
No specific memories. It'd be a fun event. Especially if you're bored of like playing superstars, but you don't have time to build a new deck. Just throw them in the pot.
I have like a half-built Dolph Ziggler and a half-built Umaga right now.
I've got best wrestler in the world, Luke Harper, Drew McIntyre, and another person who I can't remember.
Well, you have Alexa.
I have Alexa for playtesting. Devil's Favorite Demon I haven't taken apart from FunCon, but I have a fourth deck.
I can modify Brothers of Destruction. They're Halloween-y.
Canada's Mask.
I just update the face card to like the current ones.
Yeah, they're all old and hairless.
Man, that's super show,
It
huh?
reminded me of those like Dr. Evil's cats, just bald, wrinkly skin everywhere. I actually watched WrestleMania X7, the like Triple H, Undertaker, and Austin Rock, because I heard My Way on the satellite radio. I was like, I'm watching these two matches, so I got them and put them on. And I must say that the X7 match was way better than their Super Show match.
That was hard to watch.
And there was so much more hair. They both had the hair down.
Their luscious maidens.
Luscious maidens.
Okay.
Let's hop into virtual.
So this is the wrap up as I have it here.
Yeah.
We're hoping to close the virtual. I mean, don't take this as like a textbook or like the law of it. I mean, go out there, experience virtual. A lot of superstars have a lot of specifics. Don't feel that you need to run all of them. Like I built New Day when they came out. I didn't run 3 of their specifics because it didn't work with the theme of my deck. I mean, so we can talk about New Day. We can talk about the promo mechanic they added. I think it was Virtual 7. They added a lot of superstars, had that in there with like Sami Zayn. That's all that comes to mind. Marie, bless you.
There you go.
So like promo will have a number after it, and then what you do is when you promo, you look at the top number of cards, put one into your hand, the rest into your ringside. I have a bit of experience with promo. With New Day, it's like kind of like a little mini give them high fives every time. But
when do they promo? When you play a face card, or
I will find out because I set it aside. When you successfully play a cheater or heal card, you may promo 3 and then put up to 1 card from your ringside on the bottom of your arsenal.
Nice.
We could talk about with Alexa because promo is on her ability. You find it builds up your hand pretty quick.
Yep, it builds up your hand. You're getting key cards in your hand. The one thing it does do is thin out your arsenal, unless you have a New Day ability like that. Luke Harper is the same. You promo 3, and then you put one on card from ringside pile on the bottom, so it's not as devastating. I like that with those 2 instances, you get to choose like any card in your ringside pile. You don't have to choose one of the 3 that you just promoted. So that makes it a little less harmful to your deck. You get to see more cards, get more options, so dig for the cards that you need. And then another guy played Best Wrestler in the World. When you play a shoot maneuver, you can promo 2, but he has another card that you can draw 1. So typically I'll do like one or the other, depending on, because otherwise I just go through the deck so fast, and I ran very little recovery cards. So like, if I had a small hand, I'll do both, but if it's late game, I might do one or the other, or maybe neither. It all depends. And for the most part, they say you may promo, so it's really never a forced thing where if you only have 5 cards left, you don't have to promo. Those are the 3 of my 5 decks currently. I have promoing superstars, and the next set coming out, I think 5 or 6 of the 12 are promo-based abilities, or have promo in their abilities.
But the numbers tone back a bit, where it's like it was a lot of promo 3s and 4s. That's like promo 2.
Yeah, promo 4 is really cool. I think it will speed up the game a bit, because you're just thinning your arsenal that much faster. I hope that's what happens, is that you find that games pick up a bit. But at the same time, I can see building a big mitt full of cards, and that slows it down because suddenly you have reversals for everything, and who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Well, I mean, with promo, you just said you're building up reversals for everything. One thing that you won't be able to get into your hand is a card to reverse something with cannot respond.
Nice.
Do you want to elaborate on that one, Scott?
Sure. There aren't too many non-specifics, but the main one is Interviewed by Mean Gene that makes a few cards that you cannot respond to. So when that happens, you can't do anything. You can't play sustained damage. You can't play oversell.
Restricted use.
Yeah, you can't do anything. The card is successful, and they get to do what the text says. So I really like that card because it's kind of 5 free cards in your deck that you get to do things with. Offer Handshake, Who Booked This Match, you get to draw 2 or make them discard 2. So there's those little things where like you can set up your deck strategically knowing that you can guaranteed draw 2, 3, 4 depending on which version of Offer Handshake you play. And yeah, so there's a little bit of strategy there in that you get those 4 or 5 cards, but they're unique now, so you only get 1 copy of those cards. And then the Mean Gene, when it got revised, lost the revision of drawing 3 and then putting 3 on the bottom. So it really just it takes up a pre-match slot to use those functions. I mean, it's still strong, but
I mean, with that,
I like it.
with Mean Gene, you're getting Offer Handshake, which is a guaranteed either draw 4, your opponent draw 1, or you're drawing 3, discard 1, which is really strong. And it's also making these cards 0 fortitude, right?
Yeah.
You're getting good things sometimes happen, which gets you Pat and Jerry is the only thing that comes to mind for me there.
Yeah.
And there's a mid-match hero reversal. You're getting Who Booked This Match, which is like draw 2 or discard 2.
Yep.
Well-deserved push, which you're shuffling in 4 or recovering a mid-match card.
Yep.
Turn the Tide, which they can't stop you turn the tide, but they could stop the card played after it with sidewalk slams or restricted use to do it. And the same thing with Turn Up the Heat.
Turn Up the Heat, yeah.
But what I like about Mean Gene is it ignores the can only be played text on those cards. So you could be ahead in Fortitude and play Turn the Tide.
Yeah.
You could be, and anyone could run the well-deserved push for that recover 4.
Regardless of superstar value, yeah. So, I mean, they're good. I've seen a lot of play on Lackey where people save them for after WrestleMania because they know their opponent doesn't have a hand. They don't have a hand, so they could draw 4 off Offer Handshake if they have somebody getting it in their arsenal. And late game when you can't respond, that's when they're really powerful, right? You see that they only have 1 or 2 cards in their hand after 2 turns after WrestleMania, and you can make them pitch both from Who Booked This Match. And I was like, ooh, that's pretty potent when you can do that.
Another one too is build your deck thematically around your opponent needing to use that restricted use of this area in the sidewalk slams. Because usually they're going to save the restricted or those sidewalk slams for something after Turn the Tide.
Yeah.
So build your deck around trying to make them make an important choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my brother's a destruction deck runs drawing a blank, which gives a reversal restriction to blank maneuvers. So, I mean, I'm only throwing big boots and roundhouse punches because it's just a little casual deck. But it's that whole theme of everything's annoying, but you only get 1 chance to play a restricted use of this area. So usually I find myself turning the Tide into let me get a shot in for 25.
I found myself saving restricted use for when I can respond with a backslider inside cradle and win the game. Because you only get 1 shot to restrict it, as you said. And do I want to use it first turn to stop them from getting 0 fortitude, and then next turn they're just gonna dirty low blow into whatever and get the guaranteed fortitude anyways, right? Or panic and scoop slam and get the fortitude. So I definitely try to save restricted as long as possible to where I'm gonna lose or I'm gonna win, and that's the card difference.
But with cannot respond, I mean that's the big non-specific one. But superstar specifics with cannot respond, there's a huge amount of them.
Yeah.
we got a bit of a culture shock with that when we started virtual, because we started with sets 1 and 2. Your Macho Man Randy Savage was a big one. I can't remember what the effect was now.
I think it was your opponent can only play D0 reversals to your maneuvers of 6 damage or less. So you just first turn you put it in play. There's a few other cards. Devil Saber Demon has...
Yeah, you become like public enemy number 1 in our group with these.
Cannot respond to. But we've said, like, really it's kind of an extension of their ability. Like, Macho Man's ability is your elbow to the faces do +4 damage. Like that's, or your cards with elbow do +4.
But I mean, long gone are the days of like just Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock recovering. Yeah. Even like you look at Great American Bash, where it's like the virtual stuff is so much more wordy and more effects compared to those comic images sets. That's why, like, I've talked to a few people over the last few years now. Oh, that kind of hit me.
Yeah.
Virtual, where it's like, don't get into virtual everything at once. Like, if you have a play group, do 2 sets for 2 months.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. But yeah, that's cannot respond. Do you have anything more to add to that? I'll let you respond to that.
Not really. Thanks.
But what I'm going to do is go to just a little word phrasing as counter that is on cards. It is like probably my favorite thing in virtual. It replaces if you reversed a card to end your opponent's turn, and this is the first card played of your turn.
Yeah, that's a lot to be replaced with. Counter.
It's just if a high risk, like a CM Punk high risk maneuver just has counter.
Yeah.
Or when played as a counter. So it's like so cleaner. There you'll find some where it's like counter reversal to a maneuver or like counter from hand. It just means if you reversed a card from hand to end your opponent's turn, and this is the first card played of your turn.
Yeah, exactly. I think the CM Punk card is my favorite counter. I think he has the elbow drop too, which could be played as a counter to a 60 or greater maneuver, and it's like a multi high risk, which is awesome.
I love the 15 for 15, is it? That when played from hand can only use from Arsenal.
Yeah.
Nothing stopping that one from hand. And then let's go to let's look at like branding. In the comic images developed stuff. We saw ECW with the belt, one night stand, all that. But with this, they've added NXT, WCW, and the classic WWF logo. Fill us in, Scott.
Well, really, they're just kind of flavor text, right? They can all. It's not like Raw and SmackDown and comic images. They can all kind of be mishmashed together, unless a card specifically says you can't pack these when you're packing these. But otherwise, you can pack WWF and WCW cards together, and there's no issue. So I know that comes up a lot. Can only pack one. You can pack them as long as there's not a card in your deck that says you can't back them. You can back them.
But like that classic WWF logo, like there's a series of superstars that are from that era.
Yeah.
And then there are cards that revolve around them, like managed by Sonny. There's like backed by Mr. Fuji, backed by Jimmy Hart.
Saturday Night's Main Event.
Where it's that era of just things that you would expect from that. I didn't watch a lot of WWE
before my time.
At the time. Yeah. And then NXT is the same thing. It's NXT superstars. They're cards that can only be packed by them, or if packed by them, they gain a bonus.
Yeah.
WCW and ECW, there are superstars like that. They have cards that get bonuses, which brings me to allegiances, which is the new part of the pre-match phase. We covered it a bit in the pre-match talk. It's the first pre-match step now. But that also has cards that affect WCW superstars, ECW superstars, WWF, even if there's one that you can't pack any.
Yeah.
And that adds a nice touch to it because those pre-match cards, those allegiances, have its own card support that can only be played. It says requirement ECW or something, which is borrowed from the Revolution formats, that wording structure. For me, my favorite allegiance, I'm kind of torn. I love McMahonism.
Yeah. In the right deck.
Yeah, where if you're drawing any cards on your turn other than your draw segment, you look at the top number of cards in your deck and you could choose to put them on the bottom and then draw.
The first time you draw.
The first time. But it also has a card that's McMahon Intervention.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 25 Fortitude. They can't respond to it, which...
you talked about.
If you remove Divine Intervention in your hand from the game, it's 0 Fortitude. You what is it? You draw...
Draw 12, shuffle 8.
It's bananas.
Yeah, it's a big deck manipulation card.
But that's a swing late game that's really good.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite allegiance or even just one you want to swap?
Yeah, I think McMahonism is my favorite in the right deck where you know you're consistently drawing. If you have an ability like RTC, Victoria, Drew McIntyre, where you know you're going to see a lot of cards.
I didn't think Victoria. Holy cow.
But I'm always on the winning side, my side. That's a pretty popular one because it plays for free. It doesn't take up a pre-match slot or adds a pre-match slot. That still confuses me. But yeah, +1 hand size, and then in a pinch you can use the ace on it to search for a maneuver if you don't have any maneuvers in your hand, which is good because Old School Wrestling Match is a popular card in Virtual that you have to play a maneuver every turn. So you have to watch out because if they reverse the ace, you still have to overturn 6 for Old School Wrestling Match. But it helps you get a maneuver, so that's better than nothing.
And just counting how many there are here: 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Looks like 11 total allegiances. 10 because there's a Survivor Series print here. But allegiances, like there's an NWO t-shirt, so you could build your deck thematically to NWO because they've released, I think, 5 non-specifics that are NWO specific, so you could build around that. The ECW one doubles numbers on like your ECW titles, so you get +4 damage to your maneuvers or +2 damage, and your opponents are -2 damage with the virtual title. It's fun. I think that it's a really good addition to the game. Changes things up if you want to build around Allegiance.
Yeah. So Allegiance is the first phase in the pre-match. With that introduction, they increased the Backlash deck size to 12 and 12, and you can play 6 and 6.
And you can no longer fit a Rodial deck in a Rodial tin.
That is correct.
Flipping cards. Because you didn't want to talk about it, Scott, I want you to talk about it.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. Because I have more experience with flipping. So flipping it's pretty simple. You're just putting a card face down from your ring area. It cannot be RMS because it's kind of modifying the card.
Yeah.
Can't be active because then you could play an additional version of the card, and it cannot be permanent because you physically can't. You would flip it over. The card, it's still public knowledge what the card is, but it's like it doesn't exist. You no longer get any fortitude, any text from it. It's generally only involving superstar specifics that can flip it face down. Molly Holly, the Hart Dynasty plays cards from hand face down. Cesaro plays cards from hand face down, and they become European uppercuts.
Yeah. Eve plays like moonsaults face down.
Yeah.
Cards from hand as moonsaults. Jericho as his...
the Second Coming. Can play cards from ringside face down, and then he could choose to flip them. There is a mid-match card turning the match upside down that acts like the new Yours Graceful's a Cow on Ice. It has RMS, but you can't play it when you have lower hand, only lower fortitude, which that's become my replacement
which they
for Cow.
Can't respond to if you play it as an action.
And then there's so many... I've seen so many ideas to manipulate your cards, because turning the match upside down is you take the top 3 cards from your deck and put them in your ring face down.
Yeah. One string each of your turns.
Oh, one string each of your turns. If they have
D
damage of 3 or less, you can flip a card face up. How does it go? I'm totally butchering it.
Yep. Reveal the top 3 cards of your arsenal. Put any D3 or less cards into your ring face down and shuffle. And as cards in your ring, you may choose a face down card in your ring that does not have win the game in the text and flip it over.
So, I mean, judo chokes is generally what people try to get in a ring with this card.
I've used that in playtesting with Alexa Bliss, because on her 5 Feet of Fury card, which we spoiled a few episodes, it says once during any turn when your opponent successfully plays a card, you may look at the top 5 cards and put them on the top or bottom. So you can kind of manipulate and get judo chokes on top of your deck, and then play turning everything upside down, which cannot be responded to when you have lower fortitude, and then put the judo chokes in the ring area, which is kind of neat.
And you're not stopping your opponent from flipping a card face up or face down usually.
Right, yeah. And then you've played 2-time against me a time or two, which has the option, one of the options is to flip 2 cards into your opponent's ring area. And like when you played it against me, you flipped through all these years and something else, and like that was pretty.
Was it sustained damage?
Probably, yeah. Something that had a lasting effect. So it was a pretty powerful card late game that requires 2 reversals, I believe. So another good virtual card to look into that we've talked about a few times.
Other than that, when it comes to mechanics or additions to the game, do you have anything?
There's an FAQ section specifically for virtual on Team Canada Online, and if you just scroll down to the bottom, it really talks about all those terms in a little more detail, or just summarize. So if you're ever confused, like what cards can I flip again, you can just go there, and it summarizes it all quite nicely on there. So.
Do you want to get into respond? The phrasing respond. So like your opponent cannot. Reversal restrictions. Where there's your opponent cannot play reversals versus this card cannot be reversed by.
Yeah. So
where
there's a play restriction and a reversal restriction, basically. And restricted use removes a reversal restriction. So if a card that your opponent plays or has in play that says your opponent cannot play X, then you can't restricted use because it's a play restriction. But if it says your opponent cannot reverse with X, you can then restrict it because it's a reversal restriction. So you gotta look for those 2 words, play versus reverse. And yeah, you have a good card right there.
Yeah, backed by SmackDown GM Vicky Guerrero is a pre-match event that says your opponent cannot play non-superstar specific, non-D0 reversals, except for manager interferes or overshot your mark. So your first non-superstar specific SmackDown non-zero fortitude maneuver each turn. Very wordy.
Yes.
But what that does is it prevents your opponent from playing a
nerve hold,
or
face stretch,
or a nerve hold to a 8-for-8 face stretch.
Yeah.
They can't play a backslide to your running clothesline. Stuff like that. Actually, I read it wrong, where they can play manager interferes, but they cannot play overshot.
Right.
Because overshot's a 0 fortitude. So that is a play restriction.
Yeah, so you cannot play restricted use and then play a nerve hold or a backslide. You're just stuck playing D0 maneuvers, or D0 reversals.
That will come up a lot in virtual.
So just watch out for it.
Anything else?
You can talk about capacity and slots.
Well, that's something they introduced in comic images. Altogether now
Yeah.
was the pre-match, where all your pre-match and mid-match cards with chain, heat, volley, and the text do not take up a slot in your ring. Where capacity, where it'll say like this does not. Oh, what is it?
Basically, you're allowed to play 6. So if it increases your capacity, like a champ is here, you can then play 8. But those all take up slots. So only cards that specifically say this doesn't take up a slot, doesn't take up a slot. You can still play those cards when you are at full capacity because they don't take up slots. So even if you played your 6 pre-match, you can play a card like Playing by the Rules Throwback that says this card does not take up a slot. Really, I think outside of cards that say this does not take up a slot, that really only interacts with Flanked by Arena Security, which says if you have more than 5 slots used, there's a negative effect with it. So that's kind of where you can play 5 cards that take up slots and then 6 cards that don't take up a slot, but have 11 pre-match cards and still play Flanked because you only have the 5 cards that take up slots or capacity. So.
And that's something you'll notice, and I should have just let you explain that. I shouldn't have even tried. Where in virtual, you're going to see a lot more pre-match cards played.
Yeah.
I mean, you go look on the videos online that various people have posted, and you see a lot of backstage area and a lot of pre-match cards in the ring. It's just a big old purple fest.
And that's the problem getting into virtual is that you see that, you feel overwhelmed, it takes a while to learn them all, but once you do learn them, you can get through the pre-match still pretty quickly. There are quite a few cards that do take effects, but I mean, if you're playing like Interview by Mean Gene, doesn't really have an effect to resolve in the pre-match. No. Like you play a title belt with Champ is here, well, everyone knows that increases the capacity by 2, but you pretty well used them. Like so, once you get to know the cards, it goes by a little quicker. But yeah, the thing that slows Raw Deal down in virtual is not knowing what the cards do. So that just comes with time and playing and practicing, and you'll get it. Thumbs up from Scott.
I'll give one too. I mean, we're still playing it. We started playing virtual in 2 years ago. Almost 3 years ago now. And people have been playing it for 10.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what we're going to do going forward, I guess to kind of change things up here is we're going to be bringing in listeners to talk about their local events, their local metas. We're going to try to bring them in live during discussion. I prefer that, but I mean, our technology's lacking here in Canada. Just the way we film doesn't really accommodate for it, so we're going to try to find a way to do it more seamlessly rather than just a Bluetooth speaker talking with us. Talking with us, the person on the Bluetooth speaker speaking with us. And just to go back to the virtual stuff, we're going to put together all of our virtual segments together into one video and release it. I might do an audio form of it. We'll just see how that translates.
Yeah. It'd probably be 4 hours long or so.
Yeah. So. I mean, if I could post like a download link for it, but I mean, YouTube's so much more convenient.
Yeah.
So expect that. Maybe not anytime soon.
At some point in the future.
But yeah, that's going to come up as well. Anything else, Scott?
Or North American Championships.
That's right.
We're still planning and...
That's still happening. Mick Foley's coming to Barrie in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So we'll try to get some prizing and maybe a video from him. But we have like a Rusev and a Kevin Owens signature. There's a Facebook event page online because it's Facebook, so it's online.
In Canada.
In Canada. In November, we're going to start announcing the prizes. Just the rules, everything. It's just going to be virtual classic with proxies. You could play proxies. Just make sure it has the same amount of lines as a printed card because of Raw Deal Revolution. But yeah, that's exciting. I'd say about a month away until the announcement. That's 6 months before the event.
Yeah.
7 months? February, March, April, May. 6 months. It's half a year.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. That's the goal of it, where it's to have fun with it. Everyone's going to walk out with some prizing.
Yeah.
I think the plan is still to have a barbecue at the venue. The proceeds will go to the Canadian Cancer Society through the Relay for Life.
Yeah.
That happens the weekend afterwards. It's something that you're very passionate about.
Yeah. So that's fun. We'll appreciate that. Be good time.
And some side events, and I got some stuff
Yeah.
up my sleeve.
Awesome. Alrighty, so that'll wrap it up for episode 28, or episode 1, season 2. Have a good week, everybody.